welcome back to Black Book Stacks. I'm your host, Hoshonda Sanders. I have really exciting news, and that is that I now work with Oprah Daily to write book reviews, which is a completely unexpected development, but I'm very, very excited about it. And I will link to a couple of pieces that were published this past week when Oprah, the O magazine, sort of relaunched its brand to focus on more consistent subscriber content. So who knew? When you really love something and you do it a lot and you've been doing it for a long time, sometimes these things come together, and I'm super, super grateful and excited for that opportunity. The first book that I reviewed for Oprah Daily, which I'll link to below, is Of Women in Salt, a novel by Gabriela Garcia. It comes out March 30th. I think it was originally going to come out April 6th. And first of all, look at this gorgeous cover. And I loved it. It is very, I think, timeless. I know that we often talk about books being timely, especially when they're like this one. It's focused on immigration and migration, and gives you kind of a behind-the-scenes, intimate look of a family, several generations of women as part of the Cuban diaspora in El Salvador, and who grapple with belonging and identity, and in some cases addiction, and what it means to be a girl that becomes a woman in a place that sort of disregards you based on your skin color or your class, and so basically toggles back and forth between Cuba and Miami. Really, really great book. Highly recommended. Startling debut from Gabriela, who I believe was a student of Roxane Gay. And yeah, can't say enough beautiful things about it. It's pretty slim. It's kind of haunting, very cinematic. The next book I read like that in March, that is coming up for release in April, is Richard Wright's unpublished novel, The Man Who Lived Underground. I believe he wrote this between his master works, the works for which he's known for, like The Native Son and Black Boy. This is about a guy named Fred Daniels who is falsely accused of 2 murders and is brutalized by police, and essentially because of the intensity of his depiction, which, you know, all of us in this day and age are pretty desensitized to. I think, unfortunately, it's still actually pretty graphic, even though you may have seen or really been exposed to some of the severe police brutality cases. It's still pretty gripping, the way that he addresses things in it. So I'm curious to see how people will react when it comes out April 6th, Library of America. He has an essay that comes with this edition that is about, it's called Memories of My Grandmother, and it's basically like the story of how he came to write the book. And he viewed it as, his most important book. So how nice that it finally got into the world. Really striking book also, I'll say. I also had the great privilege of reading Radical Vision, a biography of Lorraine Hansberry, by Soyika Diggs Colbert. Soyika Diggs Colbert. So this is more of like a portrait of Lorraine Hansberry's ideas, and I think of it as being kind of a companion work to Looking for Lorraine by Professor Imani Perry, which I really loved. This, of course, is more academic than that, but what's wonderful about it is that you get a fuller sense of how active Lorraine Hansberry was, for example, writing for Paul Robeson's Paul Robeson's newspaper Freedom, and her vision for how her art, aside from Raising the Sun, including Raising the Sun, but like just including Le Blanc and, you know, The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window, you know, all of these other things that she also created during the course of her life, and how they all added up to make her a part of this broader Black community, which she felt pretty much that she belonged to and that she was beholden to. So really lovely work, really thought-provoking and energizing, I think. A really lovely treatment of her. So those are the books that I finished, read, wrote about, enjoyed in March. And then there were some that, okay, so there was one that I read that I didn't write about, called Set Boundaries, Find Peace, a guide to reclaiming yourself. Love this book. Tore through it. What is it? It's like it's like 257 pages or something like that, right? I think it came out mid-March, and it's by this woman, Nedra Glover Tawwab. I'm probably butchering her name, but you know what I mean. And I loved it because boundaries are a thing that I have struggled with, because I grew up without really a lot of boundaries, and so I've always been sort of searching for, like, how do you have good boundaries? Like, how do you set good boundaries for yourself, and how do you, like, create those boundaries for yourself so that other people respect them and you respect their boundaries, and on and on and on. This is something I think about a lot. And I've always been like a huge self-help fan. And so Dr. Tawwab is a psychiatrist. I always get psychologist and psychiatrist. She's a licensed therapist. I'm just going to say that because I always get psychologist and psychiatrist mixed up. Don't drag me in the comments. So she's a therapist, and she was putting Instagram polls and other content on her Instagram page, and she basically incorporated what the questions and some of the scenarios that emerged both in her practice and also I think on Instagram into this book, and basically you know, gives people an understanding of what boundaries are, the different kinds of boundaries that you set for work, for home, in relationships and friendships, etc. How trauma interacts with boundaries. There's a self-assessment quiz, all those things. And I really love books like this because even if you feel like you know something, I think if you are a person who's always on a journey for self-improvement, which I feel like I try to be, then you're always asking yourself, well, how can I be a little bit better? You know, like I feel like I've really shored up my boundaries over the years, but like there's always a little bit more work to do. And when I allow someone to breach a boundary, or when I breach a boundary, there's always a reason for it. And so I try to be really mindful of like, what is that reason? So this is really helpful for that. I also think just like if you level up or you're planning to boss up in your life, like I think it's helpful to just know like, okay, what's the line in the sand for me? What am I willing to do? What am I not willing to do? And I think the clarity that you have about those things determines the amount of success that you're able to have, right? In terms of following through on the things that you commit to, the people that you have in your life, all of those things. So really wonderful book. Cannot recommend it enough. Okay. So there are some books that came out in March, and some that are coming out that I can't do it. And unfortunately, Life After Death by Sister Souljah is on the list. OMG. I started reading this, I got to page 13, and I was like, I cannot go on. I don't know why. First of all, I did not realize that there were all these books after The Coldest Winter Ever. So I feel like not a good fan of Sister Souljah because I really thought that the story ended, and it's been all these years since we were picking up with Winter Santiago. But apparently there was not just The Coldest Winter Ever, but there was a deeper love inside, the Porsche Santiago story. Who is Porsche? I don't even know. That's fine. It's not Dad, because Dad is in the early pages. Okay, I'll get back to that. Midnight, a gangster love story. What? Midnight and the Meaning of Love. A Moment of Silence. Midnight 3. The numeral 3 is here. So there were 4 whole other books before this one related to this story. I'm so I don't even know what to say about my responsibility as a reader. But listen, I'm just gonna give you a spoiler alert here, okay? So like, if you could just click off. If you're gonna read Life After Death and you're gonna be mad at me because you really wanted to read it, then you just go away. Look, she starts off dead. So she's narrating as a dead person, which is like not possible. So you lost me. She lost me on page 1. Gunshots, exclamation point. That's the first word in the first sentence. And then she is talking about how she's dead. Like what she was going to do before she died. But now she's dead on the other side, reflecting on what it was like to be alive before she died. Like this is what is happening at the beginning. Can a dead bitch think? That is what starts chapter 2. I don't know. Probably not. I mean, or probably she can, but she's not alive. So is it really called thought? I mean, are these the questions that we have? Anyway, life is short, as we know from the book and just in general. So I'm probably not going to finish this. But if for some reason something happens, I might go back to it. But wow, what a beautiful cover for it to be. Not doing that. Okay. I made it a little bit further into Call Baby, which is Morgan Jerkins' new book. Comes out I think I'm not sure when in April, but it comes out in April. And you know, I am a fan of Morgan Jerkins' journalism and essays, and I made it probably 30-ish pages into this one. I think the premise is that there is Layla is a woman who really has had a lot of trouble getting pregnant, staying pregnant, and she is trying to find this Harlem family is known for their call, you know, this layer of skin that is like a secret power. And so Layla is sort of seeking help from them. I'm not sure if I can continue. It's not bad. It's certainly not as bad as Life After Death. That sets the bar for bad across the board. I think I had a hard time staying with it, in part because I know Harlem and I know the characters, and there's a lot of telling and not as much showing. So I may have to get back to it, but I tried, but I didn't make it very far. Pieces, Helen Oyeyemi. Wow. There are mongooses, multiple, 3. There are 3 mongooses in this novel, and I was almost sold on that because I was like, that's you gotta have talent if you're gonna put that many unusual animals in your joint. So yeah, like Otto and Xavier are on a sleeper train, and I also really like that that this is a novel about love and travel and whimsy, right, which we don't really get a lot of these days. So I was really into it, but then I couldn't go on because there were just other things that took my attention. I also haven't read, just to be fair, I haven't really read her other work. The same thing with Morgan Jerkins. So I haven't read her essay collection. I haven't read Oyeyemi's other novels, which I saw got great reviews and, you know, had great acclaim and all those things. So I'm sure that it's lovely. I just didn't make it very far into it. But this also comes out in April. And yeah, hopefully if you guys have checked any of those books out, you let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for your likes, shares, and subscribes. I know that's usually how I start, but I am deeply grateful for all of you who have subscribed. If you haven't yet, please do. It helps the channel. If you like this video, please like this video. That also helps the channel. And yeah, I'm excited. Please check out the content on Oprah Daily, and so excited to bring you another video. I'm looking forward to hearing what you're reading, what you're looking forward to in April. I will be back soon with another video, and until then, happy reading.